All right, even though this is a press conference, we're going to treat it kind of like a rally since you're here. First things first, let's bow our heads and thank the Lord. Father God, we come before you today. You've given us this time, this very moment, and we've chosen collectively to be here to exercise the freedom that you and only you give to us, God. And we want those who are watching, who will join us or who will not, to know that we intend to preserve that freedom in your name, by your power. We ask you for your help to help us do that. We give this time to you. May it be used to glorify your name. We thank you for what you are going to do in this country. And God bless America, let freedom ring. Thank you. Amen. Amen. All right, flags this way. Hand on your heart. Hand salute for veterans. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you guys so much for coming. And we are here to stand with our first responders and for our city employees and for other employees that are being oppressed right now based on these unconstitutional federal mandates. Today, several of us legislators met with these guys and ladies, and some wanted to be here but couldn't be here, but we stand together and listened to a lot of what they had to tell us, their stories, the things that they were basically sharing with us that just tore my heart out. And, we're hearing some things that ought not to be. And someone came up to me after the meeting and reminded me, we've got some guys on suicide watch right now. This is really impacting people's lives. And I think it's important for us to remember the gravity of what's happening and the way that unelected bureaucrats and some elected people are using their power, or should I say misusing their power, to lord themselves over people that are so important in our community. Last year they were a hero. This year they're being treated like a zero. You know what a difference a year makes? And we are not going to stand for that treatment here in this country, and especially in this good state of Arizona. Now, I have a lot I could say to you guys. I will yield the time. You guys know what I'm going to say. And I stand with these people, and we will do everything we could. And there was a lot of frustration. If we could just wave a wand and fix this for you today, we absolutely would. It wouldn't have happened in the first place if we had that kind of power. But we are asking the governor to bring us into a special session immediately. I have been counting the votes. The votes are there. There is now no longer a reason to not have a special session. The vacancies that we had are filled. Everyone that I've talked to thus far, I only have a couple more, and I know they support it because they voted for those bills. We need to come into special session right now because the 90 days it takes to put that into action is too long to wait. We don't want to wait till January. So I hope that all our legislators will cancel their plans or whatever and come in and get this done for you. There's no reason any longer to put it off. So, special session, Governor Ducey. I hate executive orders to put in law, but if the governor wants to control his agencies via executive order, that is appropriate. So if there's a way that the governor can address some of these issues via executive order in an appropriate manner, that's okay. I call on him to do that as well. But enough of what I think. I want to hand this over to the other legislators that have joined me here today, and also some representatives from the group that met this morning. We encourage them to continue to meet, to organize, and to push back. And I want one of those guys actually to come up first and just share the news that we received in this meeting that came from, of all places, the city of Phoenix. So who's first on the list from the group of guys? Cody, come on up and share this good information.
Hey, I'm a different Cody. I'm Kimball Cody. So everyone at work, where I used to work would call me Cody. So my family's gonna come up here behind me so you can all see who they are. August 20th of this year, I received an email. I was a firefighter for 13 years. And on our email, of course, it was a Friday at 4 o'clock. Perfect timing, right? We worked 24-hour shifts, and it said there's a vaccine mandate that you must comply by September 30th, or you will be fired. They accepted no religious exemptions, no spiritual statements, and only accepted medical mandates. And what they did was that they scrutinized our mandates, our medical exemptions, so that only about 10% or less were actually accepted. I received 2 from actual doctors, legitimate medical exemptions, and they fired me on October 1st. So October 1st, after 13 years of serving people, where I would go and pick people up off their own self-imposed squalor and put them on a gurney and treat them with respect, with dignity, and with honor because they were children of God. I was not given 1 ounce of that. And the mandates are here. If you think they're in California, if you think they're in New York, if you think they're in some faraway land, they are here today and they are here now. And if you can't picture yourself in my shoes of doing 13 years of firefighter paramedicine for a fire department just right here in the Metro Valley, and you can't picture your family without a job, without a pension, without insurance, there's something that you need to wake up to, because it is here. I sat out in the bay on that day, on August 20th, and I sat and thought, and it came to me, I must remain in honor, make no false claims, and act out of love. So I'm asking that all of us do that. I'm asking that Doug Ducey look at me, look at my family, and look at everybody else here. There's other people that aren't here that have families that are working. They will be in my shoes if they stand on principle, and if we don't have a special session, that these legislators don't pass a law protecting all workers. I worked in the sewer department before this. If the sewer department shut down for 1 day, what's gonna happen? Everything's gonna back up, right? Fire department, maybe a couple houses will burn down. This is gonna affect everything. Buildings department, water, sanitation, everything. This is affecting all workers. And just because I'm a firefighter, that doesn't make it more special. There were 4 that were fired with me, 4 on that day. And I told them, we're not special, we're just first. I hope that's not true, but the feeling is that it probably is. Call everybody, call your city, call your state, and call the governor especially. Doug Ducey asked you personally to call a special session and get this passed. Thank you.
What great kids does he have? Thank you guys for coming. Okay, who wants to go first? Representative Mark Fincham, first up.
I'm going to be super brief. God is sovereign over man, and man is sovereign over government. There's a reason we have a constitution. It's not for convenience, it's for protection. We are facing the civil rights action of our time. And I join my colleagues in demanding that the governor call for a special session immediately to stop this civil rights violation. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to go in order. The people behind me, John Fillmore, you want to come up to the mic? John Fillmore.
While some politicians may pontificate, I'm of a different breed. I believe we should resist, get the pitchforks, while some will say, let's go Brandon, I say, let's go Lucy. We need to call out Governor Ducey. We need to have a special session, and every single legislature, House or Senate, that does not get on board in protecting our rights, we need to make sure that they have no future at all.
Next up, Senator Wendy Rogers.
Years ago, we were attacked in our sleep on our homeland, and we remember Pearl Harbor today. That was evil tyranny that we faced. Today, we also face medical tyranny. This has been brewing, growing, and it is upon us. And we veterans took an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You have that lifetime oath from this senator. God bless America.
Speaking of veterans, all you veterans out there, raise your hand. Awesome. Thank you for your service. Thank you for continuing to honor your oath. All right, next veteran up, Senator Sonny Borelli.
I'm Senator Sonny Borelli, and I approve that message. God bless you. Hoorah!
Next up, Senator Warren Peterson.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I got to tell you how touched I was this morning as I listened to people with tears in their eyes, their livelihood on the line, because of some unelected bureaucrats, some elected people who are deciding to ruin their lives nonsensically. How nonsensical is this? Well, let's think about it. Most of the people here talking to me have already are naturally immune. They've had COVID. They've recovered.
Yes.
This is superior to any vaccine. This natural immunity, and they're still being fired? It just shows you how insane and how we are literally defying logic here. It's okay for you to go to a restaurant, sit down, and take off your mask, because everything's fine once you start eating, right? But it's not okay to sit in the fire station next to a firefighter or 20 feet away from another firefighter. You need to have your mask on. This defies all logic, but more than anything, it's defying our God-given rights. Okay? This is none of their business. We are getting these bureaucrats in the city of Phoenix and these government agencies. This is absolutely none of your business, and it has nothing to do with your job or my job. So, we need to call a special session immediately. We need executive orders where necessary. And we need to restore your God-given rights. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Representative John Kavanaugh.
So first they told you that masks don't work, don't buy them. Then they told you you had to have masks. Then they told you that once we got to 80% immunity, herd immunity, everything's back to normal. Now, we probably have more than herd immunity, counting people vaccinated and people who got immunity from acquiring COVID. They said it was a terrible, deadly disease that we would all die in the streets. Yet we now know that if you're healthy and don't have any particular conditions, especially if you're young, it's not dangerous at all. Many people don't even know they had it. Right? So the one constant here is that they keep lying to you because they want to control you. They want to take away your freedoms, they want to take away your rights, and now, especially the people here, they want to take away your jobs if you don't submit to them. We know here how you feel. You don't have to email us, but you have to email every other, both your state representatives and your state senator and the governor. You have to let them know that you want the end of the mandates now, as soon as possible. Because they don't read minds, but they read emails, especially from constituents. So get those emails, phone calls, cards, and letters rolling, because it's your freedoms and your jobs that are at stake.
All right. Representative Walt Blackman.
Hey everybody. How's everybody doing?
Okay, are we patriots or what? Are we patriots? So let's start acting like patriots, right? Let's start acting like champions, right? Because that's what we are. We don't have to go lay down somewhere in the corner and beg for mercy. We're patriots, we're Americans, and we love this country. When I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, I didn't fight for 15 months in Iraq. I didn't lose buddies in Afghanistan to come back to a country that's going to mandate me taking a shot. In the early 60s, my parents marched with Dr. King. And they marched with Dr. King to make sure that they had their rights, that they were protected under the Constitution, that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 did not just apply to my parents or Dr. King. It applied to generations of Americans that followed. It applies to you. This is a civil rights issue. This is no different. This is no different than the folks of yesteryear saying that you can't sit here because of your color. You can't go to that school because of your gender. You can't eat here because you haven't had a shot. We are approaching that. We have to stand and fight. We have to make sure that they understand that this is the land of the free, that this is the home of the brave, and that we will continue to fight. We will not go in the dark. We are Americans, and we will stand for freedom.
This is the best press conference I've ever got to do. This is awesome. Representative Shauna Bullock.
Well, it's wonderful to see you all here. I was here back in 2009. Remember the Tea Party movement? That's actually when I decided to rise up. So it's wonderful to see you all here. God bless you all. Let's go, Brandon. Make sure you never have to choose between the right to earn a living and your medical freedom. And I love this sign over here. Medical freedom is a God-given human right. Let's go, Brandon.
Kayla Melendez. Thank you, Kayla.
Hello. My name's Kayla Melendez, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my story with you today. All of my family lives in Arizona. I'm proud to have grandparents and great-grandparents that mined copper in Jerome. Closer. Farmed fields in Wilcox and stagecoached across the state. My husband, Brett Melendez, and I were high school sweethearts and graduated together. He went on to serve in the Navy and later graduated from Arizona State University with a degree in sustainability. His desire was to work for the community, so when he was offered a position for the city of Phoenix in the water sector, we were both thrilled. He was promoted to chief in just a few years because of his committed work ethic and warm personality. This was recognized by his superiors when in 2020, Brett was given the City of Phoenix Employee Excellence Award. As for myself, after graduating from high school, I went on to work for Triad Steel. It's headquartered here in Phoenix, Arizona. After 17 years working for a company that had grown into a second family, doing purchasing work that I loved, I had to resign because of my health. In May of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I flew to Houston, Texas, and entrusted my life to a surgeon specializing in a surgery that I desperately needed. Before COVID, my support system would have been in the hospital with me, but due to strict rules, I was forced to walk into the hospital and brave a very scary and complicated surgery all alone. It wasn't until I was in recovery that I was informed that the pineal gland cyst that I had was actually a cancerous brain tumor with its own blood supply. It was the cause of the hemorrhaging, swelling, and excruciating pain I had been in for over a year. Thankful to just be alive and continue holding and raising my two little boys, I attempted to go back to my full life. Recovering from surgery and the trauma of the last years has been long and difficult. I continue to struggle with short-term memory and emotional anxiety, and the hair surrounding my incision is still growing out to match the rest of my hair, and the 5-inch scar on the back of my scalp reminds me that I am alive. But quitting my job for the sake of my healing has been a huge financial sacrifice. Now we're completely reliant on my husband's health and his income. We're generous by nature and we enjoy being contributors to society, but with the recent news of the vaccine mandate for continued employment with the City of Phoenix, we're incredibly concerned and deeply grieved. Based on the risk of receiving the vaccine, we cannot gamble on my husband's health and him being one of those statistics. We're confident our survival rate actually having COVID and accompanying the antibodies is a lower risk to us and our families. Also, as a fourth generation native to Arizona, I have no desire to pull up stakes and leave a state where my roots run deep and my heart holds dear, to move to another more conservative state where liberty is still being guarded at all costs. But sadly, that's what we're considering as a family to thrive in our next season. We should not be required to go against our convictions when the Constitution allows us to respectfully disagree. And hear me clearly, we respectfully disagree. I humbly ask that on behalf of my family and so many others who are full of so much pain and promise, please do not ask your public servants and faithful employees to choose between their livelihood or possibly their lives. Thank you and God bless.
We have one more speaker for this press conference, and before I bring her up, I just want to get a little political for you. We had some words in there this morning and maybe a little bit of misunderstanding of what the legislature can and cannot do, wanting us to do something today, if we could fix it today. And unfortunately, we can't just go in there and write a new law in one day and make it so. We do have a process that we go through. We could fix this right away, straight away. We could come into session. We could bring ourselves into session today. We would need 2/3 vote, but we don't have the Republicans. 2/3 of the body here are Republicans. So it would require Democrats to vote alongside us to A, sign the petition to ask to come into session, and B, to vote it with an emergency clause so that it would become effective immediately. We don't have that support from the other party. Therefore, our hands are tied, and the soonest we could fix this with the legislative effort would be the 3 days that it would take to pass it and the 90 days for it to go into effect. So I am calling on my Democrat colleagues to set aside your partisan opinions and come alongside the people who are going to be showing up at your house when it's on fire or when you have an accident on the road or whatever else. These folks are who need all of us today. We have stories coming out of Tucson that many of these fire trucks are parked right now because they don't have the guys and the gals to be a part of it. So you have 2 and 3 times the response time it takes because the guys aren't working because of the mandate. That puts everybody's safety at risk, right? So it's not just impacting them. It's impacting all of us. So it's going to take all of us. The Arizona legislature absolutely could fix this if we had the support of all the members that are here. They have chosen not to. I don't understand that, and I am asking them to change direction immediately so that we can come together and we can undo the damage that the Arizona School Board Association has done by suing the state and undoing the bills that we did pass. The Arizona School Board Association, which gets its dues from the school boards, that I think, and I'm going to find out, that money may very well have been used to pay the attorney to sue the state to undo our laws. Those laws were in place. It's this kind of behavior, it's this kind of attitude, and I'm going to call it tyranny, that people think they have the right to lord themselves over you for a political reason. Maybe they didn't like Trump. I don't care what their reason is. It needs to stop. And they need to come alongside us and fix this for everyone involved. Thank you guys for being here. I've got a meeting inside that has to do with ballot trafficking. And we've got somebody coming from out of town, and so it was already on the books. I'm going to go in with that. You won't see me out here. I might be able to pop out for the rally. But no, I love you guys. Everybody in Arizona, all of us. We need to all stand together. I've got Marissa Hamilton to thank for this. She's organized all of this. Thank you, Marissa. She's got a bit of good news to share with you that we learned in the meeting. And God bless you guys, God bless America, and hold the line.
Hi everyone, I want to thank you all so much for coming out here. Many of you took the time off from work to be here, and you answered the call for our heroes. For those of you that don't know, I am a survivor of domestic violence. I also went through a terrible, terrible explosion accident that our firefighters saved me from. And so it is our police and fire as to the reason why I am even standing here in front of you. When I got the call that they needed help, when I found out what the City of Phoenix was doing to them, and I'm a former employee at the City of Phoenix, well, technically a contractor because I wouldn't agree to their terms, I was horrified. These employees make sure that we have clean water running. They make sure that our roads are safe to drive on. They make sure that we're able to have infrastructure and economic opportunity in our state. Many of the people that have jobs here today are because of the work and sacrifice that our first responders and our other City of Phoenix employees have made. And so today, the City of Phoenix, because they love to shirk their responsibility, it's government, the way government behaves too many times, and they started calling the people that have signed up to speak at the meeting today that they're holding at 2:30 for a policy session to tell them, good news, that the courts have put all federal mandates on hold. But let's understand the intent of that. The intent of that is so that they don't have to take responsibility to what they did to our employees. They're not City of Phoenix employees. They belong to the taxpayers, and the taxpayers love the workers at Phoenix. The taxpayers love the workers that are all over our state serving us, whether it's in the private sector or the public sector. And it is inexcusable, the stress that they have put these families through during Christmas, for goodness sakes. I met with the city manager's office, thanks to Councilman Jim Waring, and we had a 2-hour meeting. And they said to me in that meeting, well, don't we all want to just follow the federal mandate? That's what we're here for. And I said, no, absolutely not. You don't need to follow the federal mandate. What is the point of existing as a separate government entity if you are just going to go along to get along in violating human rights? Why do you need to exist as a city? Why does Arizona need to exist as a state? For goodness sakes, why does Maricopa County exist when they will not stand for any of our employees, for any of our citizens, for any of our taxpayers? These entities were created so that we, the people, would be able to have the final voice in our government, no matter how bad it got.